What are your goals in life? A beautiful house? Occasional travel abroad? Quality education for your children? Security when you retire? We all have different goals, but the reason why we aspire for them is almost always the same. A happy, comfortable, and secure future, either for ourselves or our loved ones. Unfortunately, most people forget that building one's financial security requires careful planning. They prefer to leave things up in the air or simply decide to act when it's too late. It's like running a race without a finish line, always living in uncertainty. They remain in financial limbo. The question is, will you let your future and your family's security hang in the balance? Or will you do what's necessary within your means to secure your goals? The good news is, it's never too late to start planning. Everything starts with knowing what you want. Most people initially look to their children's education and their own retirement when thinking about their future. Definitely, we need to plan for these. But did you know that the first step in financial planning actually begins with establishing the foundation of protection? Consider this. When you suddenly encounter unexpected events, such as losing property by fire or accident, getting seriously sick, or worse, getting taken out of the picture, how much do you think will this affect your plans for you and your family? You can be the best saver and the best investor, but if you're faced with these unexpected situations, all your savings and investments may be wiped out. And what about the possibility of losing a job or failing in business? It may take months or even years to get back on your feet. How can you maintain your lifestyle or continue providing for your family if such a setback happens? These are the unexpected challenges we must all prepare for. But you may wonder, how will I accomplish this? Can I even afford securing myself and my family? You may have even applied the simple equation of subtracting what you want from what you have, and the number you're getting is in the negative. So how do you bridge that gap? If there's any one strong force behind what you do, it's the hope of having a secure future.
태어나서 오늘 처음으로 기도를 한 걸 해봤어요. 아이를 보니 얼마나 눈물이 나는지. 저 결정했습니다. 이 세상 닿을 때까지 우리 아기 지켜주겠다고. 그리고 영원히 사랑하겠다고. 아이를 위해 기도해주세요.
Okay, good afternoon, or should I say good morning to everyone in AKMA, everyone tuning in right now. Time check, it's now 4:09. So, in the interest of time, let's get right into our session. But before that, I would just like to request that everyone watching this stream right now to please leave a like, please leave a comment, and most importantly, please share this. Since it is the financial wellness seminar, please share it to a loved one, a friend, family who you think might need this, who might need to be educated in terms of financial literacy. So yeah, some people might be surprised seeing me here for the first time. So without further ado, let me first introduce myself. If you go to the next slide, please. So I'm your AKMA financial coach, Stephen Borja. And so I've been in this industry for almost a year, and I've helped spread the advocacy of financial literacy. I'm also joined here by Sir Arkin, who's working behind the scenes. So shout out to Sir Arkin for helping me with the tech work. And without further ado, I hope to do the same to you in terms of giving you a bit of insight in financial literacy. So let's start. So when we discuss financial independence, financial status, we often encounter two types of individuals, right? So the first type are those who are nearing financial independence and enjoying a high quality of life, with money being the least of their worries. The second type are those who find themselves constantly working, living paycheck to paycheck, feeling stuck and unable to progress. So they make sacrifices just to make ends meet. And I know a lot of our audience here is from the Gen Z, so you might be part of this second class of people now. So we frequently hear people say, I want to be rich. All of us want to be rich, right? So, however, the concept of being rich is very subjective. Some may feel wealthy with a million pesos in their bank account, while others might require more. So while individuals truly aspire to do these things, what we all need is financial independence, which is the ability to pay bills on time, fulfill our obligations, provide for our family's needs, and enjoy our desired lifestyle. So now more than ever, people need to be more informed about how to achieve this financial independence I speak of, not only for themselves but also for their loved ones. That's why we're here. That's why we're here right now in AKMA. So congratulations by joining us. You're taking the first step towards being on the path to financial independence, which is why, like I mentioned in the start, now it's important to share this to someone you might know who might need this right now. Moving on to the next slide. So, it comes in every endeavor. So, there are specific elements crucial for achieving desired outcomes. Just as in cooking your favorite dish, your favorite meal, we have to follow a recipe, right? So, likewise, in managing your finances and reaching financial independence, these elements serve as the foundation for reaching financial independence that we aspire for. So, number one is the mindset. This is where many stumble. We must begin with the correct mindset. While everyone desires success, only a few are willing to rise before their alarm clock or go the extra mile. So discipline and commitment are key here. Our mindset shapes our actions, so starting with the right mindset is very crucial. And then the second fifth element is provision. So actively seeking out resources to fulfill our goals. Just identifying our provisions, including not only monetary resources, but also our abilities, skills, capabilities, and the support of those around us. Lack of financial resources shouldn't hinder our progress. No? And then number three, dynamic. So when setting goals, we have to be dynamic, putting our energy, passion, and determination into everything that we do. So consistency is vital. Half-hearted efforts are not going to suffice in this day and age. Even if we're not as young as we once were, although most of our audience here now is young now, it's still achievable. So leverage the support of like-minded individuals who share your passion. And lastly, the catalyst. So a catalyst facilitates transformation towards a better financial situation. So this could be a mentor or a guide who assists us in enhancing other elements necessary for achieving financial independence. And as seen on the next slide, let's delve deeper into the first fifth element, which is the mindset. So the mindset encompasses a person's way of thinking and their perspective. It's crucial to start with the right one. It serves as a powerful personal tool, shaping our thoughts and opinions. And in fact, it can make the difference between financial success and struggle. If financial independence is our goal, adopting the appropriate mindset is very essential. We must empower ourselves to reach new heights, and we should stop the conflicting beliefs that are limiting our aspirations. Undoubtedly, there will obviously be obstacles in our life, challenges, and setbacks along the way. However, our mindset should view them as mere hurdles to overcome, not barriers to halt our progress. We should always strive to look beyond them. And embracing boundless self empowerment means recognizing that we are in control, no matter our circumstances. What I mentioned earlier about our different circumstances, different wealth, different lifestyles, these are all our circumstances, but we're having self empowerment means that we recognize these, but we know that we can improve our lifestyle from day to day. So, moving on to the next slide, our thoughts also have a profound impact on our actions. So, we've likely experienced waking up feeling optimistic, saying that today is going to be a good day. So, when we have this positive mindset, what happens? It inspires and motivates us to do something new, making our task feel lighter and very much more fulfilling. So similarly, if we aspire to achieve financial freedom, we must also possess a strong desire for it. So the desire should be so compelling that it drives all our actions. You must take deliberate steps and be willing to make sacrifices, whether it's investing time, effort, or money to pursue your goal. And then, as we see here now in the next slide, having faith in yourself and your ability to soar to new heights, combined with a deep desire to succeed, ignites a strong passion within you. This passion fuels your determination, allowing you to remain focused even in the face of adversity. So, despite the challenges we've spoke about, we'll discover the resilience to persevere time and time again. And this resilience reflects in our character and unwavering commitment, propelling you towards the destiny you've envisioned. So remember, a goal without commitment is nothing more than a fleeting dream. And as seen in the next slide, we often hear people say, if we're going to dream anyway, we must dream big. So this encourages us to break free from the limiting beliefs that I said previously. So thinking about, for example, our dream house or our dream car. What car do you want in the future? The university that we attend or want our children to attend, and our dream vacation and a comfortable retirement to top it all off, right? So as we achieve these different milestones in our life, set our sights on even higher goals, right? So this continuous process keeps us motivated and striving for more, and it's a very good process, no? So we take a moment to reflect. How grand do we envision our new house? What countries do we dream of exploring? What luxury car captures our imagination? What do we truly desire? And we ask again, no? I ask you, the audience, what do you want? What do you really want? So when we ask about our desires, many people often respond with, I want to be rich, I want to be successful, like we mentioned. So, however, we frequently struggle to identify what truly brings happiness and keeps them motivated. Often, it's a lack of clarity about their desire that leads to unsuccessful outcomes. So think about it. How can you attain something if you're unsure what that something is? So to achieve our desires, we must have a clear and specific understanding of what we want. Commitment is also key here, no? So many individuals fail because they lack the dedication to pursue their goals. Considering the scenario of starting a diet, so initially we're motivated and excited to start a diet, lose weight, but then a friend invites you to their birthday celebration, and your focus shifts from dieting to anticipating the delicious food at the party. And then suddenly, what is supposed to be your first day of dieting becomes a cheat day, and then the diet is postponed. Tapos, in the end, wala na. Wala nang diet. So what we can see here in the next slide, what the next slide tells us, is that we must visualize our goals now. So once we identify what we want, it's crucial to have something concrete to visualize. So have you ever noticed, just talking about food again, right? Just talking or thinking about food can make you smell or even taste it. So that's the power of visualizing what we want. So what is it you truly desire? Success or financial freedom? A comfortable life? We must create a vivid picture in our mind and make it as detailed as possible. Envisioning ourselves already achieving our goals, picturing yourself conversing with successful individuals, feeling their presence, imagining lounging on the beach with your partner, feeling the cool breeze, smelling the ocean, and hearing the waves, right? Or imagining ourselves engrossed in a good book, hearing the pages turn. We don't just imagine these things, we genuinely want them to happen, right? So this exercise requires more than just visualization. We must possess a strong desire to actually materialize these goals. And our passion, belief, and commitment will then come into play. And it all starts with setting our goals. So in the next slide, before I continue, I just wanted to say good afternoon to everyone who just tuned in. Miss Rodeline, Julie, Ruby, and good afternoon. Please leave in the chat box now if you have any insights. Good afternoon, see you. Okay, so continuing now. So once we've identified what we want, it's crucial to visualize it. So this is goal setting now. So when we have these clear goals in our mind that we visualize, they will serve as our compass, guiding us towards our desired destination. They represent the targets that we want to aim or achieve, with us at the helm steering towards them. But however, many individuals still struggle to accomplish what they've set out for themselves. So, what's one of the biggest factors or mistakes? It's failing to write down our goals, right? So, putting our goals into writing is what makes them more tangible and concrete. They serve as a compass that you can always look back on and use it as a map to see what you need to do next. So, goals that remain unwritten, they're merely going to remain dreams. So when you begin jotting down your goals, remember to make them SMART, which means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So what do I mean by these? As discussed earlier, clarity in goal setting is paramount. That means when establishing a goal, number one, specificity is key. So this is specific or S. Avoid vague statements like I want to have a house. Instead, define the type of house that you desire, whether it's a two-story house, a bungalow, or even specify details like the paint color, orientation, interior design, the morning light. And then next, we should also have measurable goals, right? So determining the size of the house, both in terms of the lot and the floor area. Consider the financial aspect as well. How much will it cost? Is it 5 million pesos or more? 10 million, 15 million? How much do we need? So it must be measurable. And then number three, it must also be attainable. So while your goal might seem daunting initially, don't lower your aspirations. Break it down into smaller, achievable goals. So for instance, if your goal is to accumulate 1 million in 1 year to save for the house, set smaller targets such as earning or saving 500 pesos in the next 6 months, and so on. Let's make it achievable. And then number four, let's also be realistic now. So avoid setting goals that are far-fetched or unrealistic, such as building a house in the middle of the ocean or living on the moon. And then lastly, don't forget to set a deadline. Goals should always be time bound, meaning that they have a specified time frame or completion. This creates a sense of urgency, preventing procrastination, and encourages regular progress monitoring rather than doing everything all at once. So moving on to the next slide, we can also further categorize our goals into 6 key areas. So for the first three, this is financial, career, and knowledge goals. No? So for financial, what financial achievements do we aim for this year? Do we want to clear all our debts or earn 1 million? And the next is for our career goals. Are we considering a promotion or perhaps starting up a new business? A lot of young people here now tuning in. We do all want our own business for ourselves because we don't want to work a 9 to 5 anymore. So that's a good career goal to have. And then for our knowledge goals, would we like to pursue a master's degree, a doctorate, or delve into various books on specific topics to expand our knowledge? Or perhaps we want to attend seminars to enhance our skills or expertise. Maybe that's also on our list, such as this seminar now. No? And then moving on to the next three. So for 4, 5, and 6, we also have social goals and we have knowledge goals, spiritual goals. For health goals for the fifth one. No? So for our social goals, we aspire maybe to contribute to the welfare of a charitable organization. We might want to do something alternative like dancing, participating in community events like Zumba for the oldies. No? And then so for health goals, we also want to prioritize our health by setting specific and achievable goals. Like I want to have a slimmer body. I want to lose 20 pounds maybe. I want to look thinner, be better, right? And we also want to have regular workouts, maybe a gym membership. And then the last one is for spiritual goals. Perhaps we want to join a church or we want to center our life on spirituality and God. We might want to help religious societies or deepen our relationship with our family. So all of these goals are very great, but for our session right now, we're going to help you focus on the financial goals. So refer to your list of financial goals that you visualized. So what were your top priorities? Your goals will differ for others depending on what stage you're currently in. And I asked this to the chat box. So we visualized our goals. So can you list down some of your top priorities that you have in terms of financials? And then we will see that when you list these down and everyone leaves a comment, they'll be different from each other, no? Because everyone has different goals depending on the stage of their life right now, no? So moving on to the next slide. We experience different stages in our lives, each with its own set of priorities and aspirations, not only for ourselves, but also for our loved ones. So starting with the single phase, like for the younger people here, We often prioritize personal enjoyment and exploration, such as traveling, staying updated with the latest gadgets, and indulging in leisurely activities such as, what do we like doing these days? Playing video games. Most people like to stay at home. But then when we move on to the next life stage, siguro after we graduate, no, we want to start a family. We get married. So married individuals seek comfort and security, aiming to establish a stable home, own a car, and secure funds for unexpected emergencies. So when children enter the picture in the next stage of life, the priorities shift even further towards providing for their education and future opportunities. So us as parents, we will strive to ensure that our children receive quality education for a better chance in life, just like we were given by our parents. And then as children grow up and parents approach retirement, the focus shifts to enjoying a comfortable retirement in our last years. So we aim to have the financial means to pursue activities that may have been postponed while we were working hard, such as maybe traveling or leisurely hobbies. And then on the next slide, regardless of your current life stage, this is for everyone listening. Our present needs typically revolve around maintaining our lifestyle, purchasing necessary items, and most importantly, investing in our health. As we begin earning a living, our short term goals, as we can see here in the present, may involve traveling, buying a house or car, which could entail repaying loans. Our milestones should also include protecting these assets and securing our income in case of unexpected events. And then starting or growing a family adds new priorities, such as building an emergency fund and ensuring financial stability for our children's education. For our long term goals, this includes college and retirement funding, which should be initiated early to allow sufficient time for growth. And then lastly, during our retirement, the priorities often shift towards increased medical expenses or maintaining a comfortable lifestyle and planning for wealth transfer to our family or estate. So it's essential to consider these priorities as part of your entire financial planning journey. And that's why we should also start now. On the next slide, we can see that our financial goals list serves as our compass, guiding you in the direction you wish to go. So it's time to create a detailed action plan to achieve each of every goal in each lifestyle stage. So, for instance, if we're dissatisfied with our current salary, we should brainstorm ideas for additional income streams, such as starting a small business or taking on a part time job. Write down specific action steps for each goal, such as this. And periodically, we must review our progress and adjust our plan as needed. This process is continuous and requires ongoing monitoring. Challenges may also arise, diverting our focus. So, personal activities and financial constraints can be distractions to us. Managing our time effectively and staying focused on our goals can also help us, no? And I have a question. So, are we willing to go the extra mile to fulfill our dreams? So, our passion and commitment are crucial in achieving your goals. Going back to the mindset that we should have. So, staying dedicated and taking the necessary steps to make our aspirations a reality is how we can achieve our financial independence. And then moving on to the next slide. So, after creating a detailed plan, the next thing that we need to do is know exactly where you are right now, as to have a better view on how close or far you are from your goals. Other people may be further than the next person. So we need to know how much everything is: our watch, our car, even the value of our house, personal belongings. We need to know how much our income is. If I ask you how much you weigh, some might even not even know the answer, or some might even bring out a weighing scale to know, right? So if I ask you, how much are you really worth? Many might not be able to answer this question right away, and it's perfectly fine. But it's important to be able to find out our current financial situation, which is known as our personal net worth. And why? Moving on to the next slide. Because building a better net worth, it begins with saving, right? So that's why we need to know our net worth. Our net worth is a true measure of your wealth. So consider this: if you were unable to work starting today, how long could we sustain ourselves financially without worry? Would we need to start selling our assets to cover everyday expenses? So the key to financial success lies in savings. Savings is a form of delayed gratification. It involves setting aside money now to earn interest and improve our financial standing in the future. It sounds simple enough, right? So however, when you receive your salary though, what do we typically do with it first, even if saving seems so simple? So for many, even including myself sometimes, I'm guilty of this. The natural tendency is to worry about the bills, loan repayments, other expenses. Some might even make unnecessary purchases, spending more than necessary. So this often leads to a zero balance by the end of the pay period, prompting the feeling of financial strain. The correct mindset should not be to spend first, but to save first and then spend what's left. And some people might even have a less than zero balance. They might even be covered with debt. So if we adopt the approach, instead of income minus expenses equals savings, It should instead be income minus savings equals expenses, so that we always set aside our savings first. And as we can see in the next slide, many people, they also struggle with saving money due to various reasons. They may passively leave things to fate without a concrete plan. Some lack a clear blueprint for saving because they're unsure how to begin or they can't visualize it. Many individuals are burdened by debt, making it very challenging to save. Some feel like it's too late to start saving, while others struggle to make ends meet, leaving little room for savings. And here are some practical tips to help you save money for your future goals despite these challenges. So, number one, place your savings in a vehicle that is not easily accessible, such as fixed deposits, insurance, or any savings account without ATM. The reason is when you save and then you forget about it, it's less temptation that you will be getting that money anytime soon or liquidate it. No? And then number two, so it's always better to start saving early. If you haven't started yet, it's not too late, but you must begin now. When it comes to saving money, time is your greatest ally, and the earlier you start, the easier it is to grow your money. For example, let's say you wanted to save 1 million over the next 10 years. If you start now and consistently save 100,000 pesos each year for the next decade, you'll reach your goal. However, if you delay this and you don't start saving right away, you'll need to save double the amount annually to achieve the same goal if you start in the sixth year. And then if you postpone until the ninth year, you have just 2 years left to save 500,000 each year to meet your target. So the best time to start saving was actually not today, but yesterday. The longer you wait, the more challenging it becomes. However, it's never too late to start. That's why we're here to help you get started on your savings journey. In the next slide. Before that, I will shout out kay Sir Banjo, Sir Rafi, Expert Lolo, shout out kay Expert Lolo. Shout out kay Jerome, Lizelle, thank you for tuning in. So moving on, number three, no? How much should we start saving every month? So I'm not suggesting that you should save your entire monthly income, as that would be impractical given your bills, your groceries, and other expenses. However, the concept is to prioritize paying yourself first. So as a rule of thumb, no? Number one, allocate 50% of your income for your basic needs, dedicate 30% for your lifestyle and discretionary spending, and lastly, reserve 20% fixed amount for your savings. So don't touch this, don't touch the 20%. So earlier, you determined the amount needed to reach your future financial milestones. Now, you can use that 20% portion to save for these goals. Also, look at this 50-30-20 rule. Thank you, AKMA, for this poster. This was actually done by our Gen Z portfolio management team, so shout out to them. This very nice visualization, so we know how much to save, right? And remember, it says here, remember to save first before spending, because we are paying ourselves first. So this graphic is very nice. Thank you to the Gen Z portfolio manager team. So moving on to the next slide. An advantage of practicing these good saving habits, such as the 20% saving, that will help us build. It will also help us build an emergency fund. Why is this important? Because building an emergency fund will help us cope even with unforeseen events in the short term. So this generally means at least 6 months worth of our salary, and it will also help us accumulate funds for our future financial goals. And if there are no emergencies, we can also use this extra money as our extra savings. Moving on to the next slide also, we need to be very intentional about our savings. We can't just do it when we feel like doing it, and we can't do it when there's unexpected extra money that we have. It has to be very deliberate and done regularly. So how do we do it? By setting up a budget. So let's go to our budgeting tips on the next slide. So here are some practical tips for budgeting and managing our expenses. So number one, pay yourself first. As we said, we should automatically set aside money for our savings before allocating funds to fixed and discretionary expenses. And then number two, we must manage good debts and eliminate bad debts. So not all debts are detrimental. Good debts can increase our net worth, such as loans and investments. Bad debts, like high-interest credit card debts for non-essential purchases, yung mga Shopee Pay Later, mga ganon, non-essentials, they should be prioritized for elimination. And then moving on, so while there are debts considered good debts, any debt, whether good or bad, can lead to financial ruin if mismanaged. If you find yourself struggling to manage multiple debts with varying minimum repayments, debt consolidation may be the solution. So debt consolidation involves taking out a new loan with a lower interest rate and possibly lower monthly payments to pay off all your other debts with higher interest charges. Instead of juggling multiple bills with different due dates, you'll only have one monthly installment to pay to a single lender. This consolidation significantly reduces your monthly payments, freeing up extra cash in your budget. So being overwhelmed by debt can be draining both mentally and emotionally, and even when you calculate it, you might rack your brain just counting all the debt that you have. So debt consolidation can alleviate the stress of constant calls from creditors and provide you with a peace of mind. So let me illustrate this in the next slide with an example. So we assume that we have 5 different debts totaling 125 pesos, and we're required to pay a total of 21,000 pesos monthly to cover all these debts. So to address this situation, we can explore obtaining a loan from a financial institution such as a bank for the total amount of our current debt. So this new loan will consolidate all of the existing debts, meaning you'll use it to pay off all your current debt. So when selecting which loan to take, it's crucial to consider factors such as the interest rate, the loan terms, the years, the duration. So opting for a loan with the lowest interest rate will make it more manageable for you to make monthly payments. And then more budgeting tips on the next slide. So after managing our debt, here are some additional tips. We must first prioritize need over wants, such as I mentioned kanina, and then we should also live within our means. Avoid the temptation to emulate the lifestyles of those you see on TV or social media, because oftentimes, they tend to appear lavish, but in reality, they're also swimming in debt. So we should only purchase items that we can afford without stretching our budget. And then third, we should also set a budget and stick to it. So this is why I'm giving you the budget plans now. Everyone, please listen. So establishing a monthly budget outlining how much we can spend on various expenses such as food, transportation, internet services, entertainment subscriptions. We should adhere to these limits to ensure financial discipline and stability. And then we're going to move on to the next topic now. So if we find ourselves struggling to save and experiencing a shortfall, there are two primary strategies to consider. Number one, increasing our income, or number two, reducing our expenses. So while the specific adjustments may vary, the key is to commit to your plan once you've started. Excuse me. So before we move on to the piso expense, I would just like to give a shout out again kay Jenny, Vince, thank you for tuning in. Chris, Kisha, Ms. Jen, thank you all for your support now. So let's move on now to our piso expense topic. I'm very excited to share this one. So to manage your expenses more efficiently or effectively, it's crucial to understand where our money is going exactly. It prevents surprises like realizing you've spent all your money without saving anything or wondering where our money went. So we start by listing all our expenses, as we can see in this table. Many individuals, after doing this, they'll find out that they discover valuable insights when categorizing their expenses. So this useful exercise is called the piso expense. Why? Because first, let's start. So we categorize it, number one, with priorities, no? So these are fundamental necessities of life that we can't live without. Food, shelter, clothing, we can't live without those. So definitely, we must set aside some money for that. And the next is indispensable expenses, or necessary expenses. Not necessarily needed to live, but to function, as humans. So necessary expenditures include tuition fees for children or maybe our own college fund, utilities, and insurance premiums, expenses critical for maintaining our lifestyle and security. And then next, the side interest. This is where a lot of us are guilty. So these expenses cater to our enjoyment and current lifestyle, such as buying bags or shoes, or maybe even going to the movies. So it's a category that enhances our quality of life, but strictly it's not very necessary. And then even less necessary is of no value. These are definitely not our priorities that we should be thinking about. So the expenses in this category are considered wants rather than needs, such as buying daily coffee or going out regularly with your friends, maybe going to the bar. Many fall under this category. Expenses that don't contribute significantly to your well-being or long-term goals. And as a Gen Z, makaka-relate ako dito. Like when I go to school, I'm tempted to buy Starbucks all the time. I'm tempted when my friends invite me after a hell week. I want to go to the bar. I want to party. So things like that now. But definitely, when we remind ourselves with our visualization, our clarity of mind, we know that no, we should postpone these things and focus on the priorities now. So on the next slide, we talk about the significant money. So let's put our money where it matters the most after listing down our piso expense towards our goals, both for yourself and your loved ones. It's what we like to call the significant money nga. So this money addresses two types of goals. Number one, addressing unexpected life events. So the unexpected life events include sudden occurrences like the passing of the breadwinner, the onset of critical illness, or loss of property due to calamity. And then number two, preparation for expected life events. So these are milestones that are going to happen, right? Such as our child's education, marriage, retirement. And so these are why we need to set aside two kinds of funds. So let me share some simple facts with you. So let's talk about life. No? So according to the World Data Atlas, the mortality rate of Filipinos aged between 15 and 60 was 37.17 deaths per 100 population in 2020, with an annual average increase of 6% since 1975. So the age range includes individuals who are just starting to build their families or already have growing families. Shockingly, the 77% of our population lacks any form of financial protection, as reported by the BSP. So imagine the impact if of the breadwinner within this age range suddenly passes away. How will their family be able to survive? And then next is in health. So did you know that medical inflation rose to 10% in the country? There's an additional 3.9 million Filipinos in 2021 who are living in poverty due to medical obligations during the pandemic. We all know that the pandemic, it really ramped up the fear, everyone who has to go to the hospital, the medical costs for especially those with already pre-existing conditions. So the lack of preparedness for medical expenses resulted not only in physical but also emotional suffering for many Filipinos. And then we also have asset management here. So from 2020 to 2019, damages to establishments due to fire and other calamities in the Philippines amounted to 463 billion, with private properties accounting for 23% of total losses, according to the PSA. So, your property, which you've worked hard to build over the years, maybe you might be a business owner, all of these may be lost in an instant due to fire or other disasters. So, are we really prepared to rebuild our life from scratch? Possibly living with relatives until we can rebuild our homes? How long would this process take? Our lifestyle would certainly be affected by a fire or perhaps a typhoon damage. So, these are the potential scenarios that could occur at any time. And unfortunately, if they do happen, mga kababayan, you may be forced to deplete all of your savings and investments, leading to the crumbling of all your goals. That's why, in this hierarchy of financial needs, addressing the three areas life, health, and asset management is paramount. And then let's move on. There's even more here. We see in education. Imagine the pride and joy we'll feel as we listen to our child's speech during a school award ceremony or graduation. They're grateful to you for giving them the chance to study and laying the foundation for their future. So, as a parent, your goal is to provide the best education possible for your children to give them a brighter future. The gift of education is something that will stay with them forever and can never be taken away. Unfortunately, many Filipinos cannot afford to go to school. In 2020 alone, it was reported that 4.4 million Filipinos were unable to enroll, according to the SWS survey. And at the beginning of 2022, out of our population of 112 million, there are 34.6% belonging to children below 15 years old. This means that there are many children out there who would like to go to school and parents who would need help preparing for it. And then we talk about retirement also, right? So generally, for those who did not become part of the mortality statistics, life expectancy is still at 71 years, thankfully, based on data from data catalog at World Bank. While this may sound like good news because Filipinos will live longer, it also implies that there are other expenses throughout our old age, like frequent visits to doctors, maintenance medicines, and of course, day-to-day expenses. So 80% of Filipinos aged 60 and above, they're not financially prepared for their retirement. That's the sad truth. Some still try to work through their old age, while others rely on their kids for financial support just to get by every day. Others rely on government benefits. So the question is, would that be enough? Would that be you? Are you willing to give up the comfortable life that you have dreamed of when it's your time to retire? And then lastly, for savings. We all have dreams in life for ourselves and for our loved ones, and we want these dreams to become a reality someday, right? But sometimes this reality is somehow difficult to achieve. According to a 2021 survey by World Bank, it was found that 43.8 million adult Filipinos don't have enough savings to make both ends meet. Data from another study showed that 5.6 million Filipinos are homeless as of 2022, so they're living below the poverty line. This tells us that there are a lot of people who need to learn about financial literacy. As mentioned earlier, what hinders many people from becoming successful is a lack of discipline and planning, and that's why we are here to spread it now. Moving to the next slide. These are the needs that should be addressed and prepared for us to achieve financial independence. Our significant money is called such because of the seriousness of the events that it supports, putting emphasis on the unexpected ones since it can really derail us from our financial goals. So we should put our money where it matters. In the next slide, we see the same graphic again. No? So these are invested in financial products like annuities, endowment, medical plans, insurance policies, and fixed income securities, life insurance policies, which many financial planners recommend because they come with tax advantages and are self completing, meaning the funds will be there even if the insured meets any of the life's contingencies like death, disability, or critical illness. So that's the idea, right? To have funds for our future, for what will, what may happen, what may even not happen, we should still be prepared and make saving and investing our way of life. Moving on. So, what's the difference now between saving and investing? Let's talk about that briefly. So, saving is when we put our money in a fixed deposit or keep it at home, and it entails a very minimal risk. We keep our money intact for later. But what most people don't realize at times is that there is a silent thief who steals our money. Not the physical money, but its value. That thief is called inflation, and I'm sure we're aware of it now. So, inflation, in the next slide, it refers to the increase in prices of goods and services over time. For instance, let's consider the price of a kilogram of rice. So, according to the PSA, or Philippine Statistics Authority, in the 1990s, the cost of 1 kilo of rice was around 16 pesos. So, by the 2000s, it had risen to 23 pesos per kilogram. And then today, the price ranges between, 40 and 50 or even higher. So, we can really see this silent thief in action. It's all around us. So if we simply keep our money in the bank, where it earns an interest lower than the current inflation rate, usually around 1% per annum only, its value will definitely decrease over time due to inflation. Likewise, if you keep your money at home, maybe you keep it under your bed where it doesn't earn any interest at all, it faces the same devaluation due to inflation. So, given this scenario, people may opt to spend their money now while their purchasing power is still relatively high. Or alternatively, we may choose to invest our money to counteract the effects of inflation and potentially grow our wealth over time. Moving to the next slide. So, investing money is a common strategy to grow wealth over time, but it comes with inherent risk. It is important to understand that investments, the level of risk is directly related to the potential return. Nothing is guaranteed. For lower risk investments, it typically yields lower returns, while higher risk investments offer the potential for higher returns. So, whatever you choose to save or invest, there will always be risk involved. So, what should we do? Let's see here in the next part. We should do both. So, saving is preserving our money, and it keeps our money intact as much as possible with very minimal risk, especially if we need our cash available at any time. If we're not so young anymore, we should not mind getting a low interest rate, no? So as long as our money remains intact and available, and that's what we call capital preservation. And then for investing, it's growing and preserving the value of our money. And it's always best to start early so we take advantage of the compounding interest, which helps us beat the natural inflation rate that is the silent thief of our money, right? So that's capital appreciation. So moving on to the next slide. Let me illustrate how simple and compound interest works with this example. So for simple interest, let's assume you deposit 10,000 with a 5% interest rate. And each year, the interest is calculated based on the original deposit of 10,000 pesos. After 10 years, the total interest earned is 5,000, making the total savings 15,000. On the other hand, that was simple interest, no? So on the other hand, compound interest works a bit differently. After the first year, the initial deposit of 10,000 earns 5% interest, resulting in a total of 10,500 pesos in the second year. And then the interest is calculated based on the latter, the 10,500 pesos, not just the original deposit. So the process continues for 10 years, resulting in total earnings of 6,288 and a total investment value of 16,288 pesos. So as we can see, compound interest allows our earnings to grow exponentially over time because of the interest itself that also earns interest. And it demonstrates the power of compounding and why time is a critical factor in investment growth. So if you are just 20 years old and want to have 10 million by age 65, then you just have to invest 1,895 per month, assuming an 8% annual return. But if you start late, you'll need to invest a higher amount just to keep your savings goal, no? So the idea is to invest your money somewhere that will beat the inflation rate. That's why we're growing our money to preserve our capital and our value as well. So let's give some tips before we end on where to invest. On the next slide, we can see for short-term goals such as those you plan to achieve within a year or so, it's prudent to consider bond funds or other conservative investment options. These vehicles prioritize capital preservation over high returns, typically offering around 4% per annum. While the returns may not be as substantial, the risk associated is very low. And then for medium term, such as those you aim to accomplish within 5 to 10 years, balanced funds can be a suitable choice. These funds offer a balance between risk and return, typically yielding around 8% per annum. The idea is to generate reasonable returns while also managing risk effectively, considering that you may not need the funds immediately. And then when it comes to long term goals such as retirement, planning, or building wealth over several decades, aggressive funds like equities become more appropriate. Equities historically offer higher returns compared to other investment vehicles, although they do drop, they can go up. It depends on the market state. So since long-term investments have a longer time horizon, there is more time to ride out market fluctuations and recover from downturns, making equities a viable option for long-term wealth accumulation. In the next slide, we also talk about the rule of 72. So lastly, this rule of 72 is a simple yet powerful tool that we can use to estimate how long it would take for our money to double at a given annual rate of return. So by dividing 72 by the annual rate of return, we can get an approximate number of years required for our investment to double in value. So for example, if we need our investment to earn an annual rate or our investment to have an annual rate of 7%, dividing 72 by that 7% gives us approximately 10 years. So that means it would take around 10 years for our initial investment to double in a value at 7% annual rate of return. So if we understand the rule of 72, we can really figure out our time horizon and set realistic expectations and plan our investments accordingly. It provides a rough estimate needed to achieve our financial goals based on different rates of return. And then we incorporate this rule of 72 in financial planning, we can make more informed decisions about saving, investing, aligning our strategies with our short term and long term objectives. But ultimately, consistent saving and prudent investing can pave the way towards our financial independence and help us realize our aspirations. So with that, ang dami, no? What I want to just ask from the chat, do you have some comments on what your favorite tool is, whether it's in the budgeting tips, rule of 72, maybe the 50-30-20 rule? But all in all, no, this is really what we bring all of these things together, combined with our fit elements, just to really practice, no, practice every day and regularly how to be better savers and investors. So in reaching financial independence, it's also crucial, no, that to find a mentor who is trusted and has the expertise to help develop a complete and sound financial advice appropriate to the particular situation for a particular type of customer, making it as simple as possible to create a superior customer experience. A mentor who will always be with you, who will always be accessible, present in your every life stage, guiding us in reaching milestone after milestone. A mentor who simply makes lives better. So we can see in the next slide here that we already have all the important elements to achieve financial independence. It's now upon you to act on it and execute it. AKMA financial mentors are here to guide you. And with that, no, this ends our presentation. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing all your learnings here. So before we end, I would just like to read some from the chat. So here from Eunice, no, she says whether you need insurance depends on various factors such as your lifestyle, financial situation, the assets you want to protect. Insurance can provide a kind of financial security and peace of mind in case of unexpected events like accidents, illnesses, or natural disasters. It's a personal decision based on your individual needs and circumstances. So thank you, Eunice. Yeah, and I think one common misconception just from being young, right, being someone who's only in my 20s, we don't think that we need that. We don't think that we need health or asset protection just because we're young. Oh, we'll be good to go for maybe 10 to 15 more years. But in reality, at any time we could get into an accident. We could be diagnosed with terminal illness. We never know. We can't predict that. And then a follow up to that is a comment by Marga, no? Margaret Zuniga. So creating limits on our budget will indeed help us achieve financial independence. It helps us build discipline and being smart with our money. So thank you for that. And then from Jenny, she says that saving before spending provides a solid foundation for financial well-being and a peace of mind. Yes, that's very good. No? So mostly emphasizing the saving and also the peace of mind. Also from Vince here, he says that he likes the 50-30-20 rule. It sets a good goal, which pushes me to save even more. From Zing Kai here, by prioritizing saving, we can create a safety net for unexpected expenses, emergencies, and future goals. Yeah, so there's many more comments here talking about the 50-30-20, saving, budgeting, and being intentional also with our savings will help us achieve financial independence from Kisha. So here we have congratulations now, Lasal Gen Z Portfolio Managers. Thank you, Miss Jen. Great tips. Thank you, Sir Rafi. Shout out to Expert Lolo again. Shout out kay Sir Banjo. Shout out kay Miss Rodeline. So here, another one from Jerome. No? So I agree. If we want to surely achieve our goals, we should be persistent and give our 100% all the time. So ayan, thank you everyone. I guess to close this FB live streaming, we're supposed to end at 5. We're a bit early. So let me give these last few minutes just to give a thank you to everyone who was able to listen, to like, to comment. And once again, I ask if everyone can please share this as this live stream will remain in our FB page, AKMA's FB page. So if everyone can just share this to someone who you know needs help in learning how to save, in learning how to spend wisely, and even learning how to invest. We need to expose them to our culture here in AKMA. We will be more than willing to guide these people in achieving their own financial independence. His last comment here, from Jing Yu. He says it is better to do the investment than just saving it in the bank. Yes, because we these days ang taas na ng inflation. No, we must really know how to beat it out. Thank you now for the learnings. Thank you, Carla, for tuning in. Nice approach. Thank you, Sir JM, also for tuning in. Thank you, Sir Bat. I really love the piso expense. It properly organized me how to smartly plan our savings. Yeah, yung piso expense, no? That's one of my favorite concepts din. It helps us visualize talaga. And then, galing down ng budgeting tips ko. Thank you, Sir Banjo. I think that's all the comments. So thank you again to everyone. I can't acknowledge everyone individually, but I know that I have some friends here also who are tuning in to support my live stream. No? So thank you to my friends from DLSU, from Taft, so Taft, mga Taft friends. So there are really a lot of things to learn here. Personally, share the tips to people I know. Thank you. And definitely, we could also break these down now, since this is a lot to digest in only 1 hour. So we can focus on one thing at a time. Maybe we can go back here to this recording and review the piece expense, the budgeting tips individually, maybe the time horizon, things like that. All in all, I encourage everyone to really master every single one of these things, even if you're not a financial advisor, even though you're just in a different industry, maybe you have a different line of work. Don't feel afraid to be able to master these things, because it's not just for people who are experts in the industry, but really for everyone to know how to save. So I think with that, we are still 4 minutes left. I'll be ending here. So once again, I would just like to give a big thank you, big shout out to everyone who supported me today in watching this stream. Please don't forget to keep sharing, keep learning every day, keep practicing the financial literacy tips that we teach here in our FIT seminar. And thank you. Please expect also our FB Live to be here back again tomorrow at 4 to 5 p.m. Just the usual everyday FB Live stream. And I hope to see you again in the next part. Thank you.